Thanks, Bernard. I don't care what she says about you, you're all right. All right, so the first thing we're going to do to get this meeting kicked off is we're going to have Bernard Drew. Okay, I think he left. I guess I will. We're going to introduce Dallas, our vendor for the night. Please help me welcome Dallas up here so we can tell us
First, I just want to say thank you for everyone that was participating tonight. I want to thank Bernard Drew, and I want to thank Red Blue Lodge as well. So here at the Junk Pirates, we specialize in hauling, junk removal, and relocation, which is moving. There's a couple things that I would like to address about it, just like pain points, the hassle of dumpsters. You know, you got your illegal dumpsters. You got your illegal dumpsters going around and just dumping trash, piling up till it's overfilling. You got your rodents, your animals. You also putting junk on curbs. Attracts a lot of unwanted guests. Normally thieves, they see junk move sitting on the curbs and they go kick the door in and they steal your copper. It just shows that it's a vacant house. We specialize in cleanouts. We've done 6 bedrooms to 8 bedrooms homes, hoarders. We got a lot of contracts right now with the city of Flint that we're working with to go around the abandoned houses to clean out all the junk. So we specialize in moving, move out to move in. I know a lot of tenants up and just want to move. So sometimes if they don't find their cousins or brothers or sisters, they go ahead and call us as well. We are licensed, we're bonded and fully insured for everyone's protection all around. Another thing about setting on the curb is there's people going around in the pickup trucks every day digging through the garbage, trying to steal the metal out, the copper, all that, and then they just leave it. They just go. So that's where we come in. You call us, we get the job done, it's a free estimate, same day removal. The company is fairly new. We just started a year ago. I actually myself, this is my very first time ever speaking in front of a crowd. So it is family ran. Me and my mom decided to start this. She has a wonderful job, so she doesn't really need to do this. I just felt the need to. I like helping. I find a lot of families that I've helped. I got great reviews. We are on Facebook. We do have Google, so you can check us out. That being said, once again, thank you for coming and allowing me to speak. I will be passing out flyers and cards, business cards, so you guys will all have the phone number.
Question?
Yes.
Do you do cleaning or between unsplit too?
I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Do you do between tenant cleaning?
Can you kind of describe the cleaning, like? Unfortunately, no. We don't do the cleaning part. Now, say you guys have demo, we'll sweep up the dust and all that stuff, but we don't do counter scrubbing, window washing, and that stuff. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
They make the trash go away.
They make the trash go away.
For the record, in case you lose this card, and this will be online also. So for the future record, the phone number for this is 810-553-2432. So 553-2432. Thank you for coming out, Dallas.
Yes,
The next thing is I would like to introduce Bobby Kirby for an update on what's going on in the city of Flint. This is Bobby Kirby.
Got this sheet that I passed out. Okay, this is what has happened since we met last. On the 6th of June, last week,
so you can call us today and we'll get
they presented the budget before the city council, the city of Flint.
We schedule our junk jobs on days where we
In this budget
multiple days.
is the master
And we're really flexible.
fees. Master fees includes all the rentals, the rental inspection, the licensing, everything. Unfortunately, they increased for your license, for your houses, your rental houses. It went from a one-time fee of $112 to $250, effective July 1st of this year. So if you have any houses that you have not registered, you had better get them registered before July 1st because your fee will be increased by $138. So you need to know that, and that's why we're bringing it to you. Is there any questions on this? Sure.
How do we find this out?
I found it out by watching the city council when they approved the budget. That's how I found out. I saw them on YouTube. That's right. I didn't go that way. I watched it on YouTube. We had no idea whatsoever that was going to happen.
But they did.
Of course they did. They slipped it through. They slipped it through. Unfortunately, that's just how they operate.
Do you know if we can fight it?
Mr. Mays says that we will have to have 6 votes in order to get rid of it.
We're a good lawyer.
I just told Linda that they can freedom of information request to find out what they're going to do for $250. We'll start there.
So, that's it, guys. Any questions? All day, yes.
Vacant property registration, what's the parameter?
Is that the one for $250?
Yeah.
They put that in especially for the banks, according to Mike Ryder. Okay, I talked to him this morning, and he said that he knew about that. And he said, if you guys want to know more about it, just go online and look it up. But it's basically, it's still going to be around $250.
Are we gonna have to pay that for houses or vacant or what?
For the vacant houses? No, I think that's like, when a bank take over, there you go, foreclosure.
Well, how do you separate a foreclosure from an eviction?
From an abandoned house?
Short term, long term.
Bobby,
Yes.
what's the difference between an eviction and a foreclosure?
What's the difference? I don't know. I think that what we need to do is find out what abandoned houses is on here, whatever they have on here. Personal property, I don't have a license. What, can somebody tell me what that says? What is highlighted at the bottom?
Vacant properties registration.
Okay, yeah. But $250, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he said something about abandoned houses this morning when I talked to him.
On that, I personally think it's just a way to tax them. Like someone who's losing the property on tax foreclosure, because the bank's probably going to pay the tax on time.
Exactly.
And it's a way for them to get an extra $250 out of every house that goes delinquent that's going back to the bank.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody's ever going to register their property as vacant when they still own it.
Right.
But during that process, because everyone has to pay every tax lien against the property to get free of their title, it's a money grab. Because they can put a $250 lien on every property that's going back on foreclosure. It's free money.
Yeah, it's true, man. But then, the bank's gonna pay it.
Because who not getting a rent is going to register their house as a vacant house?
Any other questions?
Now, would that operate like open land?
No.
No,
House.
houses. Okay.
So how do you know that?
All very interesting questions, very interesting times for the man. Henry, I feel like in a previous life, you were a litigator. Or a judge. All right, so on to the main event. Our speaker tonight is Arnold Brown from the City of Flint Light Department. Please help me welcome Arnold Brown. And he did not vote on that budget.
Good afternoon. Good evening. I'm sorry. All Let me introduce myself. My name is Arnold Brown. I am the City Services Manager for the City of Flint. I'm in charge of Blight. I'm going to be overseeing the new demo program that we're collaborating with Genesee County, forestry, a couple of other things that the mayor wants me to do. But I guess I'm just hoping for conversation. Aaron asked me to come because he has some concerns. And do you guys record these and these questions that I can answer at every time I don't know the answer to?
Yeah, we record these.
All right, so Aaron really he wanted to know for the in the situation for the blight. He said that they weren't, the landlords weren't being notified for, like I said, for instance, you have a blight tip, you got a resident is not abiding by the rules. He said that they're not being notified, you guys are not being notified. I talked to Mr. Feaster through Blight Code, and I thought the notifications came from the actual Blight Department or the NSOs, but they don't. They come from the hearing department. So he said each time that you receive a violation is one ticket goes to the tenant that's in the house and one goes to the registered deed holder. So they said that that's happening. I can't believe them. I'm on their team. So I'm just saying that. So if you guys are having any problem with that, please let me know and I will get some more clarification on it because he did tell me that's how it happened.
One thing, I know what happens is, we have to register these properties, right? And so you guys have those records available. The notices are going to the deed holder, which could be out of state. It takes forever to get it there. By the time they get it, they're already late. Then they get it to the property manager, which is registered with, the city building department. So I just wonder if there's a way that either a third notification or send us the notice locally.
It should be sent to you.
It's not.
So that's the problem. So I will take note of that and I'll take it to the proper training.
Is there actually anybody answering the telephone?
Yes.
I called there today. Are they open Tuesday to Friday?
No, we're open every day. We had one of our workers, his funeral was today. So we got hit on by a horse a couple weeks ago. He died. So we were at his funeral today. But we do have someone there 5 days a week and we work from 7 to 4. So number 237-2090. That's the flight office number.
What's the number 237?
2090.
Is that who I would call for a park car that's on the street?
Yes, ma'am. I would request if, and I was just talking to Mr. Aaron about this. When I first took over, I'm trying to make sure everything is streamlined because everything was like moving parts, and it's hard to make sure you're getting everything in one area if they're all over the place. So we're trying to streamline, so I'm getting everybody to any problem you have with Blight, make sure you call that number. It gets a number, and then we will address it accordingly. If it doesn't, somebody calls someone and thinks that they're going to get it to us, don't trust them. Because it may not get there, and then you're frustrated. Like I was telling Mr. Aaron, you'll get frustrated waiting on us to get there, and we don't even know. So this way, it makes my department accountable for their actions. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
So, to start out with, if somebody makes a complaint, or you ride by and you see a pile of trash in front of a house, what do you do from that point?
Well, it has changed. When I was here, I'm a retired City of Flint employee, and I used to do litter abatement, which many of you probably don't know exactly what that is. But when there was an eviction or a move out or something, We got tired of seeing the actual debris on the parkway. And we used to give them like 72 hours. We would post it, take pictures, give them a notice for 72 hours. And once the clean up, we come out and charge them. And it'll be a special assessment on the taxes. Right now, I think it's that went away. So now we're just waiting, we're just seeing what's going on and trying to figure out what's the next steps.
But as a homeowner, what do I know? If you're sitting back waiting for the next step, what do I know is the potential?
Well, what I'm trying to get back to is the way we used to do it in our school. If I go by your property is a mess, you may not know it because the tenants, they move out in the middle of the night. So I would, first of all, contact you, probably what the young lady was saying here, I will make sure it got to the proper place first, because that just extends our time that you have to clean up. And then I'll make sure you're notified, and then you will start the process. And if it wasn't done right and done in a timely manner, we will come. I will send probably the gentleman right here, Dallas, here.
So you give the homeowner then 10 days to remedy the situation, or 15 days?
No. To me, as a light officer, or somebody in light, I don't want to see it out there 6 hours. 10 days is far too long for it to be ready. I mean, wait.
So I own property on Flushing Road.
Yes,
So half of Flushing Road, City of Flint, half of it's Flint Township.
yes,
In the City of Flint section, there's all this graffiti. Is that blight?
yes, that's right.
All right, so obviously, 6 hours, they're not gonna have it painted in 6 hours, or even 72 hours with the shortage of contractors. So if I called in a report, would you send the taxpayer a letter or something to try and get the shit covered up?
Well, I'm kind of, you talking about on a dwelling?
No, commercial.
Or commercial building. See, that's when you start going to get into the gray area, but we will notify that, whoever owns that property, and tell them, because if they don't do it, and I can't use this as an example, I'm going to use it as an example, but I shouldn't, but the rock on 12th Street in Hamburg, somebody went down there and graffiti the other day, had some derogatory stuff on it. I have a crew that I can sit over there to paint. So we basically, what we did is made a raw canvas for them to go back and do it again. But
I was gonna say, did it stay there that long? You kind of make that stuff like
well, it did, because someone went down there with a nice mural down here, but I know that's just a temporary fix.
Right.
But
You got nasty stuff up.
yes. So if you do, and it's in the city, let us know that, and we'll figure out what to do.
Because that's literally in the arm of my Yukon, I have a can of white spray paint. And so going down Flushing Road, 8 keeps tagging all this stuff. So like, the guy that has the boat thing, there's the painting on the side of the building, it's like a blackout guy, sort of shadow, it says boats. And so the guy boat, it said boat 8, which is a gang or whatever.
Yes.
So I stopped. I hit them all the time, but I can't keep up.
Well, let me stop for a second. So, somebody makes a mess in front of a property, they're making it over 2,000.
Yes.
It seems to me that city ordinances, and I don't know the ordinance off the top of my head, require you to then give them so many days to cure the problem. That was my question, you said no.
No, I'm saying you asked me for 10 days. It used to be 72. And I go back, I told you that it was something happened to that. But it's still on the ordinance, it's still on the book, because I looked at it today. So it's not being enforced. Yes, it's not being enforced. That's one of our major problems, is enforcement.
One of our major problems was for many years, you guys have put a stick in front of your heart and think that was some kind of notification.
That wasn't me.
No. So you know what I'm saying? That is not notification.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, we had a notice, and I would stick one of the notices to the debris, and then I would make sure I had all the book, I had the post office, and every person that own that property, I would send them a registered letter where they had signed it. And it cost us money for postage, but it was very successful. So everybody was notified, and if they didn't do it, I was seeing special assessment hearings in May. Now they're trying to fight the ticket, so.
Yeah, because like the notice thing, I've got properties I haven't seen in a year. So if you tag the building, the house,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know till next year, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Just what you were saying, that's the problem, and we need to fix that because I don't want to get a bill at late notice. I could take care of the problem.
Yeah.
So we will look into that.
Do they still have, they were calling a light court?
Yes, yes, it just started back up 3 weeks ago. They have hearings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and flight tickets are still going through. And I think that's probably a segue as to what Mr. Aaron was asking too about the NSO and the Black Department out of jail. Any more questions about that?
I just want to make sure, Cardinal, I have to understand. We all on the same union. And what Sandy brought, Henry brought out this. So, if we don't get notified, we can't address the problem. And that has always been the Achilles heel of everything going on. They send it to the tenant who doesn't give a shit, they're in the trash yard in the first place. And then they send it to some address that may or may not be who it should be, even though the city has on record. You know what I mean? They have that information.
Have you ever talked to anyone why that? And I'm just using you as an example. Have you experienced that problem yourself?
Like you got
I haven't personally.
Has anybody experienced that problem themselves?
About the notice?
Yes.
I have.
So,
I have one copy of it.
what did they tell you? I mean, when you
I
called
haven't got any, I haven't got hold of anybody. That's why I just called today, but I just got the email today from the owner. And I wondered, how old are these before they're going to court? Is it an old thing or is it something current? Is what I'm wondering.
And only time that I've seen things happen like that is when it was the house was sold in like the last 3 months and the registered deeds was behind or we were behind on getting them posted, getting them in the system. That's the only time I've seen that. I've heard of people not getting notifications, but I know when we did it, I probably had a couple of them because, I thought everybody told a story.
Yeah, like this one went to California. I mean, I just wonder how old is this? It says, I just got it today, it says court communications at 21st, which is what time and signed June 7th. So I mean, the sheriff's filed this. Did this happen 2 years ago, or is this something in the last month or two? It's happened?
We got a document over there?
But you're saying this isn't probably the number to call, that's what I called today. Just give us fake numbers here. Tell me the number two.
Email me.
Okay, what's the
I guess I'll give everybody my email address. I don't mind you having it. wbrown@cityoflint.com. If you have any questions that you need some answers to, if I don't have them, I can get them. I can get the answers for you.
W. Brown,
Yes, ma'am. @cityoflint.com.
and your number again, I'm sorry, 810.
I don't have them.
Like,
237-29.
20 what?
2090.
2090.
Yes, ma'am. Mr.
Maybe can you go through the process maybe? If the NSO for a certain area writes a citation or notices something at a house, at a certain property, is there a certain process to go through?
Yes.
Timeline?
And I was explaining this to Mr. Dion earlier. It's been a disconnect with the NSO and the blight department. NSOs actually get they formulate all the tickets for citations. Once the citation is given, they have certain things that spark other things. If you got an abandoned car in your yard, they normally give you like 14 days to take care of it. If you don't, then they come by and give you another ticket.
So do they give a ticket that causes, has a fee related?
No. They give you, that's basically a warning ticket.
Okay.
And then once you get so many accumulated, the time elapses, they'll take it to a judge, and then you have to go to blight court, and then they will make you either come to court or you pay the fine. I've been seeing a lot of people lately just pay the fines because they don't want to. It's kind of an inconvenience for them.
The first warning that you mentioned, is that, what happens with that? Is the tenant notified? Is the resident notified?
The tenant is notified, and the tenant and the homeowner are supposed to be notified, but you guys are telling me that that's not taking place. So that's one of the things that I was asking them, because I think you asked, the first week I was here, you asked me that question. And I looked into it and I asked the NSO officers, because I thought that they were coming from us, but they weren't. They coming from the actual court. They coming from blight court. Mr. Torshio Friesel. His paralegal sends out notification. And I know probably about 8 months ago when they went down, he didn't have a paralegal, so I don't know whether or not you weren't notified in that time span, but we're gonna make that better. We have to.
In the case I had, there was one notification, and it was a ticket. I want to say it was given on a Wednesday. I actually found it in my PO box on Saturday. And then the next Wednesday is when it was due or what have you. And I went down Tuesday of the next week to find out basically to deny responsibility because it was an attendance matter, not denied cause or to do anything about. And I talked to Justice in the lead department. He said, I don't even have it in my system, I can't do anything. But then I contacted a few people, but I got no response. One of them was Carl, and then the other one was, I forget the girl's name, but she's maybe not there anymore. Those are the two NSOs that would be involved, I guess.
Carl being that he was that NSO officer in that area?
He is now.
Okay, gotcha.
Amy, I think, was the one.
Yeah, they lost a couple of them since then.
So for that reason, I think it's kind of a short notice period for somebody, especially a landlord, where we're distant, we're not instantly notified of the property.
So what would be your suggestion as far as if you have a P.O. box, do you check your P.O. box every day?
I don't.
So what would be your suggestion if we did, and I'm just being devil's advocate, if we sent you out a notification and you don't check your P.O. box every day, you can't fairly say that we didn't notify you.
I understand. To Sandy's point, as a property manager, who wouldn't get that notification anyway because it might go to her owner in California, and every step I'm taking a few days, finally they would give her a call and say, hey, what's going on? I might be too late already. Now, we actually are going to pay $260 just to register a property, let alone inspect the property if it goes that far. I would hope maybe that the blight department, who is like right specifically under the building department, has our rental registration phone number and address too, for that matter, to show whoever is inquiring about who manages the property, Sandy's phone number or Sandy's address.
You know what? I've never dealt with a situation like that because I keep forgetting. When I used to do it, it was just like one property owner. I know you have multiple things, multiple steps now. So when you register the property, how is that looking in the property form?
It's on the form. Our our name, the property manager number, name, and our number, as well as the homeowner's name.
Is it in the property portal though? When you look up the address, is it in the property portal?
The property manager isn't in the property portal, but it is in the building inspection system.
I see where.
And I think the water department has access to it.
No, I see where it's going wrong now. You just told me everything I needed to know. I got it.
Once you get that phone number, like he's talking about, like if you have multiple properties and you have a property manager, it seems like a text alert system would be much more effective and efficient than snail mail when it comes to fines and fees. So you will be receiving a, fine or fee or whatever within so many days, and that it would just come on your cell phone. It's just like something you can add to the system, so it's an immediate notification. People have their phones all the time, and consumers' power doesn't have any problem with it.
I know.
I'm just saying. You can't change out of their book and everybody be happy.
Another double advocate moment, 250, you need to get something. So we need to look into more inventive ways to notify
That's
each
more
other.
of the,
Yes.
the times now is to use the text
Yes.
or an email or both. It's unlimited, it's really cheap, really. To use these programs.
So we got money now. We got money now, so we get it for you. Back to the NSO. We have 9 NSO officers that are assigned to each ward. They go out, they write tickets. Hopefully they don't get to the situation where, you got to come to court and be able to fine. But they can be more effective, utilized more effectively to me. And I'm working on it internally now. Hopefully they will allow me to oversee that group. So once they come through there, they send the tickets over to Blight. Blight sends them over to the Blight Court. Blight Court goes through the reviews, and like I say, everybody's just been paying them. I've answered the phone like several times last week, and they'll make the payment before their Blight hearing date. So they'll call and ask if they still had to show up, and they tell them no, that they didn't. So
Is there a place to look up what the Blight ticket is about, or do you have to talk to them?
it should be. No, you threw a loop on me on that one. I kind of brain froze on that one, but.
As a property owner, for the situation I've dealt with recently, I get a photocopy of the ticket.
Yes.
With your court date?
Yes. With all the information.
You get the ticket first. It says there's been a situation here.
Right.
Within a week of the observation, let's say, you need to basically come down and either admit responsibility or deny responsibility and or pay the fine.
And if you do anything, and see this particular case of mine that I'm speaking of, I've never had this happen, but I'm a new manager as of the last 5 months. And so that's why I asked, is this something that's old, maybe 6 months ago or prior?
Then, like I said, that number, they should be able to pinpoint that because it has a date.
Yeah.
It has an origin date on it, so,
Yeah.
so we gotta be better. I'm telling you, we gotta be better, not just because we're getting a raise from you guys, but we have to be better because I put myself in your shoes and I'm like, man, I don't want to see. Landlords Association has always been a benefit to the city. I mean, you guys provide a great service for the city. So, we just need to help out. I think everything has come full circle, so.
And I think we're trying to do what's right.
Yes.
If you get the notice behind the scenes, after the whole thing, pretty much, it's hard to catch us.
And it's hard to dispute. Well, when I used to go to assessment hearings, it was hard to dispute there because the only thing in my law, it would show the date, the post date, because I had a sticker, and it would be the actual clerk would stamp it. And sometimes it would get delayed in the mail or something, maybe due to weather or something, sort of weather-related situation. But that's all we needed on our end because we were showing we made an attempt. So if we didn't get it, I don't know what happened from this time.
The biggest problem you know, is whose stuff is it? And, you know, if you take an eviction, the court tells us, you gotta get the tenant's property, personal property, off your property. Put it between a sidewalk and a curb in the city. Now, that's not something that we make. It's the court saying, you gotta get it off your property. In fact, they go as far as saying that anybody in the world can take that stuff, except you. You don't have any right to your tenant's property, even if he owes you money. And so we're left there, right? We have a court officer put it between the street and a curb. And the city just doesn't seem to understand that. That they want to make the tenant's property somehow my property. It never was my property. They never had a right to take that property. And the city then wants to impute some rights upon me that are just not there. A few months ago, they wanted me to put stuff in storage somewhere. Again, it wasn't my property to put in storage. It belonged to somebody else. You know, and all the city needs to do is to be fair. They need to say that we realize this is not your property, that you're just doing the city a favor by getting rid of it. And that's all we're doing. We're not obligated to get rid of it. You guys don't want to hold the person who owns that property responsible in any way, shape, or form. And that's where the real problem is.
Well, I understand that, but my thing is, until something is changed in that ordinance or something, that's what they're standing on. And I'll get you because I've been through this like 15, 20 years ago when I actually had a meeting with, who was the landlord that used to own the building down on Grand Trails in Oakland?
Jerry Hansen.
Yes, Mr. Hanson, and we were talking about having some dumpsters put out on the property and just put all the stuff in the dumpster, and if they wanted, they come get it. But you know what it's gonna look like after they go through and rummage through what they want, what they don't. So it's a never-ending thing.
But it seems to me in a perfect world, you would say, the tenant owns that television set. Come get your television set and get it out of our street. But you don't want to say that. You want to say, you property owner, you may live in California, but we want you to get rid of that television set. And that's what makes the system fail.
It's flawed. It's flawed. I know it's flawed. But I'm like, I'm not here to speak up on that because I think it's a authority above me that would really look into that. But I've been dealing with this for years, and it seems like it's getting worse. Because my thing is, with the tenants that leave stuff like that, they probably don't care about the security deposit. They're probably not coming back anyway. So it's a no-win for you.
You think,
Security deposit, they just left us someone 2-3 months rent.
did you,
Exactly.
Arnold, do you think though that the tenant's property should sit out there for 24 hours, 48 hours? How long before we should step in and clean up somebody else's mess? Is there a time limit?
It is. It's 72 hours.
72 hours.
Well, hold on. It's a law. Genesee County, I know Genesee County goes by the law because the sheriff's department does most evictions. And I don't know what is it?
It's like 3 days, you can't touch that, like, as a landlord, you can't even touch that. I thought the landlord can't touch it, we can't touch it for 24 hours.
It's 24.
24 hours, so when we set it out there, before we could even clean it up, it has to sit there 24 hours. Or the tenant would have justification to take us to court. But as soon as 24 hours hits, now, here's the other screwy part about that. You set everything out at the curb, you come along and load up all the stuff you want, create a mess, that's fine. A lot of,
You shouldn't have to.
say anything about that.
You shouldn't have to touch it more than once. So I'm with you. That needs to be. I don't know. You guys have a large group, and I'm pretty sure you guys can talk to someone in the city to change the ordinance or something, go to council meeting or something. I don't know exactly how to do it, but you guys been dealing with this for years.
We can make this thing work just as easy as pie, I guess is the word for it. But you can't charge us $250 to register our property and then say, well, we want to be your friend. I mean, somebody's got to, from the administration, has got to say, listen, we want you to be fair with us, and we'll be fair with you. And we don't see that fairness. And I know you from 25 years ago. You were a good guy.
I'm still
But I'm telling you.
He's not the enemy.
But I'm telling you, this administration doesn't have people in this room that's interested in ours. They only care about as many dollars out of us as they can.
I got you.
And they're not going to win friends and influence people that way.
Wait, Dave.
What kind of relationships are you trying to form with the land bank now? Because you know, the majority of the time with vacant houses or visual issues, a lot of times the land bank's on property. We've run into a stone wall every single time we've got those dudes up here.
I'd rather not go into that conversation.
It's got a career.
Go ahead, Mr.
Where was that? So, it sounds like you might be interested in changing some of the procedures within the budget department a bit.
Yes.
So maybe when you're looking at that, think of us a little bit where we can't touch, for example, in this eviction discussion, anything for 24 hours. We could probably clean it up and leave it there, but how many times can you do that? We don't live across the street. So if we have enough time to get rid of it, say 72 hours before there's any like consequences, there's a bunch of different ways if you're local you can deal with it, or maybe if you're not local you could have a junk company say, hey, we're doing eviction. You put the stuff in the, you do evictions?
We're just recently getting into that.
Okay. So if you have a junk type company do evictions, they know what's going on, they know where it is, maybe they can come back 24 hours. But in the meantime, if you guys go by there and see it, I wouldn't want to get a ticket and have to pay for something like that right away.
I'm willing to, you know, like I said, I'm just a peon. I only can take it so far, but I'm just willing to do whatever is going to be best for the city. I hate the way my city looks, and I'm very passionate about the way it was, and I'm pretty sure we can bring it back somewhat where it used to be, but it's going to take all of us, and I don't think charging you up the wahoo is going to be the response or the answer to what we need to do. So I don't think Torchio Feaster is the person that, he's just a blight court guy. You need somebody from the city. He's like a neutral party. He's not a person that's going to make sure legislation or whatever you need, a code or ordinance change or whatever is going to be taken, is going to be enforced or put in place. You guys need to go to a council meeting. You guys all got council people in your areas. Talk to your councilman. Try to get something on to have a conversation with them, because at the end of the day, you guys are helping all of us. So I'm sorry I can't give you more than that.
Well, Arnold, see, I'm encouraged at the fact you're gonna look at the process. There's some holes in the process.
Yes.
If you can figure out how to fix those holes, it works for you guys and helps us, that'll be a good thing. It'll be a step in the right direction. Okay? Making sure that people get notified in a timely fashion, because, you know, it's like anything else. We can't fix it we don't know about. And I don't, you know, there may be new landlords who drive by their property every day,
Yeah.
but, you know, drive by every 6 months, make sure everything's okay, unless they call me, then I'm gonna take care of stuff.
Yes.
But
So,
they're around to babysit a house.
So after you issue a 72-hour notice, after 72, sorry, can you tell me the process before I get fined? So we have a trash attendant who's got all sorts of crap in their yard, they're a hoarder.
Well, that 72-hour notification is still on the books, but it's not being utilized.
Okay.
And I think that's where the blight blight NSO officers came in, we always didn't have blight. They were PSOs or something back in the day, but we always never had those. They were out just doing the portion of the enforcement for the police department as far as the tickets, the cars. That's all they did. They didn't do tall grass, they didn't do trash. So it was another entity that took care of the backyard trash on private property. So what I would like to get back to, and I will look at this as number 2 on my list, outside of making sure you're notified, I would like to get back into that 72-hour notification where everybody knows, everybody's notified, and then we go and get it. And if you are somebody that the mayor can sit down and talk to in regards to your services, we need to have something immediate, because I hate going down the street and seeing, people don't deserve that. You know, going down the street watching, and you know, some of the tenants, and some landlords just turn their backs. They don't care.
Yeah.
So, I would like to get back to that 72 hours.
Yeah, so I was just having a question, because like Bernard, who used to work at Flint Township, so I used to own the Encore Celebrations, the old plaza there on Beecher Road.
Oh yeah.
So we would pick up the trash on the back alley. They would dump 30 bags of trash in my back alley. Bernard would call me and say, hey, they dumped some trash in. So I would say, okay, no problem, I'll get it cleaned up. So I get on the phone, a few days later, I had someone to pick up the trash. He drive by a couple weeks later, he says, hey man, I thought you were gonna pick up that trash. I'm like, I did. That's new trash. Now it's trash and a piano. Like, I picked up 2 pianos from that same property. I don't know how that's even possible. But so, I was just nervous that like, you're finding people after 72 hours, and I don't know if commercial's a little different, but after 72 hours, it's like, man, I already took care of it and we have a problem again. And also, like, you can't get anybody to do anything these days. So, like, I can't move a piano by myself.
You know, I had a situation. I had a situation the first week I came back. It's an old Henry Brothers building, and he had 2 dumpsters out the back, and they were overfilled. One of them was open, and you know, I fought like heck to try to get them to come remove the dumpsters, but everything has to be perfect for these garbage companies to come in and do what they're supposed to do. So I ended up having to move all the trash out of the way and get the door closed. And thank God the person that owns the property, he was a suspect of just like what you said. People just kept dumping on. They see the opportunity where a dumpster, and they just kept drawing it up and just throwing the stuff out on the side of the dumpster.
I just had with a 2-yard dumpster, and every week she had about 8-10 yards of trash. It's a dance school. Like, they make 1 bag of trash a week.
Yeah.
She had a 2-yard dumpster, and it was exploded.
It's crazy, and you know what? And I'm not minimizing what your guys' concerns, but that's one of my major concerns in the city of Flint is illegal dumping. And you know, and like I was saying before, this guy, I couldn't charge him because he was a victim.
Yeah.
So we ended up helping him out. You know, he went out and he yelled what I asked him to do, and then we came in and cleaned up the rest of the stuff. We can't do that all the time, but if you don't do it, it's going to get worse. I mean, rats and everything is going around there, so you know, I'm scared of dick of rats. Any more questions? Have I answered most of your questions thoroughly?
You've given us hope.
Well, that's all I want you to do is say encourage, man. That's all I want you to do. Hey, you asked too many good questions.
Thank you.
I've been knowing you for a long time. I know you do. I know you do.
Thank you for coming out.
No problem, man.
Don't kill the messenger. Arnold's going to try and help us out. So our next meetup is going to be on June 23rd, 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. And we are still working on a location for that. Do we have a location? We're still working on it. Okay. Still working on location for that. And our last thing of the night is 50/50. We're gonna have burger off. Winner gets a whopping $20 tonight for that great June attendance. 6029. Select. Hell yeah! Oh, did you win?
I ain't buy a ticket.
6 what?
6029.
What? You think that might be me?
She's a winner. All right, good deal. So thank you, Arnold, for coming out tonight. And all you guys have a blessed night. And we'll see you. So we do have no July meeting. We'll see you guys in August. Thanks for coming out.
Great performance.
See you in August.